The topic today is Chapter 3, and the title is Ethics and Social Responsibility. So let's move on and learn about this topic. There are 3 learning objectives. The first one is to understand what is this concept of ethical behavior in business. We've heard, I'm sure you've heard this term a lot. We've talked about it in class about companies behaving in a socially responsible manner and behaving ethically. The second term or the second learning objective is to understand this concept of corporate social responsibility. And then the third is the marketing tactic that we've also talked about in class on cause-related marketing. So let's first start with understanding what is this difference between ethics and morals. So I'm going to start with the one on the bottom first, morals. And so that term essentially signals certain societal rules that we develop as a broad-based cultural system. So generally speaking, it is a rule that everybody in the society considers right or wrong and is commonly or universally shared by the entire culture. So morals then in turn guide ethics. So what is considered right or wrong then is used as a guideline to govern the conduct of an individual, and in our case, the conduct of an organization. So for example, if the American culture considers child labor immoral, not right, then a company that is found to engage in child labor would be also considered unethical. Now, please keep in mind that morals are not global in nature, they're not universal, and they're very cultural and unique to societies. So something that is considered not right or wrong in America might not be the case overseas in a different culture. So let's take an example of an issue that was in the news last year in fall with this product called EpiPen, which is used to treat allergic reactions in children. I will share this video that you will see, and I would love to hear your responses on why the company or how the company went about raising the price of this very instrumental drug for children by 400%. And was that right or moral or ethical on the part of the company, where it knew that the product is instrumental to saving a child's life? So at an organizational level, when we think about ethical development, the model that we mostly rely on is this ethical development model, and it's borrowed from the literature from psychology, and it essentially compares a company to an individual. So there are 3 levels of morality, from very childlike on the top over here to very mature-like at the bottom. So pre-conventional morality is where the institution or the organization is very self-centered and very focused on itself. Conventional morality in the middle is moving towards addressing the legal system, what others think of me, what the society expects of the company. And then the post-conventional morality is where the company is going above and beyond and thinking about what is right for the society. And not so much concerned about what is considered or what is required by law. So look at this example for a minute here with Chipotle. And so last year, Chipotle announced that it was not going to use any GMOs or genetically modified organisms in any of its food products. It is not required by law in the US legal system that companies not use GMO products. So I think, in my point of view, this is a great example of a company embracing a post-conventional level of morality, where it's going above and beyond what is required by law and behaving in a way that meets or exceeds the expectations of the society. Another tactic that we've talked about earlier as well is this cause-related marketing, where the company identifies a specific cause that is close to the company or close to its target market, and designs a marketing campaign to support both the cause and, of course, as well, identify or build a relationship with its target market. So the two examples that I'm sharing here is the Susan G. Komen cure that we've also addressed earlier in the course, as well as this Inspire Red, which is the RED campaign. And if you're not really sure about what it means, I'd urge you to look it up. So generally, when companies come to ethical behavior and kind of start thinking about it, they generally build what is called a code of ethics. And it's really a guideline to help managers and employees make better decisions, to control behavior internally, so that there is no confusion in any decision making amongst the company and within its employee structure about what is right and what is wrong. So look at this example of Pepsi with their global code of conduct. Right? And I will, again, if you work for a company, I'll urge you to look up its code of conduct and see how it addresses ethical behavior in decision making for employees. So the second objective of today's topic is on corporate social responsibility, frequently referred to as CSR. I'm going to share these two definitions taken from literature, and it says actions that appear to further some social good beyond the interests of the firm and that which is required by law, right? So above and beyond, going above and beyond that is required by law. And again, look at the second one, says encompasses the economic, legal, ethical, and discretionary expectations that society has of organizations at a given point in time. So, again, looking at the society and seeing what is it that the society expects of the company. So look at this example here, and I'm going to share again this link, and I look forward to hearing your response to it. Nestle, very large, again, food product company, admitted, it went above and said, I admit that some of our third-party suppliers were using child labor, and so it admits to slavery in Thailand while also fighting for lawsuit in the country Ivory Coast in Africa. Not that Nestle is directly involved in it, but they are trying to recognize that child labor in these emerging markets or in these developing countries is not permissible and is not part of its code of conduct. So when we look at CSR, there are 4 tiers, and your textbook also gives you a very good explanation of each. But at the very basic level is economic, which is, if you're profitable, then you're being socially responsible as a company, to all the way on the top where you're behaving now in an ethical manner, and then philanthropic, where you're being a good citizen and giving back to the society. A very related term is this concept now that's emerging in practice and in literature called corporate sustainability. And that's sort of an offshoot of CSR, where business practices are now more focused on social and environmental needs. And so instead of measuring a company's performance essentially in terms of just profit, companies are now looking at the triple bottom line, and that's the illustration you see here, where companies are measuring their performance in terms of the impact their practices have on people, the planet, and the profit. Right? So here's a link from last year. Fortune magazine always does this about companies that profit from doing good. I'll share this link with you, and you'll have an opportunity to post your response as well. The last example that I want to share with you is of the Swedish company called H&M. I'm sure everybody is very familiar with it. And they introduced this concept called the 100% Circular Lab. Again, I'll urge you to Google it and look it up, what that stands for. But that essentially, they've envisioned for themselves this 100% circularity, where everything that they do has the minimal possible footprint on the environment, right? And there are different ways in which the company does that. And I'll share again these two links with you so that you can view them and post your response. So that's all on this topic, and I look forward to hearing your responses. Thank you.